So my last video that I uploaded was about the boxer that competed in the women's boxing, and everyone was like, it's a man, it's trans, it's a woman, she's beautiful, it's a trans, it's man's. And it was a very complicated, confusing thing for a lot of people. And a lot of people said the wrong things and made the wrong claims. And I've seen a lot of people come out and be like, I was wrong, I apologize. I've been seeing people leaving me comments saying, are you going to apologize now? Are you going to correct yourself? Are you going to do the right thing? And I'm like, what is everybody talking about? So I'm going on Google and I'm looking, I'm like, has there been a new development? Did I miss something? Is there new info? And I'm like, oh no, there's not. So I don't know if the fact that they let Imane keep going on and get the medal and all that kind of stuff to them is like, that's the redemption. It's all good now. See, you were wrong. That didn't undo anything that was said prior. It doesn't change anything. The facts are still there for the taking if you have any interest in the facts. Now, something that I do want to point out, I don't think I've ever lost so many subscribers in one video, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind losing subscribers. I don't mind people disagreeing with me. I don't mind people getting mad at me. The one thing that I am concerned with is I just don't want people to misunderstand me. So this video isn't to apologize or backtrack or even to double down or anything like that. It's just to make sure that I was clear, because what I don't want is if people get mad, all good. I respect that. But I don't want people to get mad or get offended or whatever because they didn't thoroughly understand what I was saying. If you do and you get mad, cool. I just want to make sure that everything was communicated correctly. And there is something that I do want to update. Because again, I care about the truth. I actually do. I had people, I think the vast majority, at least the people that left comments, the vast majority of people agreed with my sentiment in my previous video. There was a minority that didn't. And people were saying stuff like, man, you disappointed me. You picked a side. And I'm like, nah, fool, you picked a side. I'm not interested in sides. There could be 18,000 different sides for all I care. Some people look at it like, and that's what forces you to be so black and white about something. I'm not interested in sides. I'm interested in facts. And the scary thing, the reason why people don't like facts is because the scary thing about them is when you go with the facts, when you follow the facts, then if your mind has to make you think in the mindset of picking a side, when you go facts first, when you let the facts lead you, that will then dictate your side. And that's scary to people because they want to choose a side first. And then if they realize that they're on a certain side, but the facts say otherwise, they're like, oh snap, I don't want to leave my side. That's why they don't want to let the facts lead, because they're going to end up wherever they might end up somewhere where they don't want to be, and they want to choose their side. So I was like, nah, fool, don't try to pigeonhole me like that. I'm not interested in sides whatsoever. So there was a lot of people from the start saying that it was a trans issue. Trans all over the place in the articles and the videos on the Twitter. Trans. Everybody's trans. And I wasn't saying that. I said in my video, this is not a trans issue. This is, thank you, a man's issue. I was saying it's all about XY. I was saying Imane wasn't like a person, because people were trying to use the argument, Algeria, you can't be trans, you can't be gay, so you guys are wrong, you don't know what you're talking about. There's no way it could be a trans person. There's no way it could be a gay person, because that's not allowed in Algeria. To me, that actually sounds so offensive. The way that they were, it's like they didn't even realize within their argument, the way that they were articulating that sounds so dismissive. And like they were assuming a lot of things in regard to Imane. I don't even know how to say the name, to be honest. Imane. I know I've heard the name, but I didn't really pay attention. I'm just going to say Imane. In my perspective, the way they were saying, oh, you don't understand because in Algeria, this, that, gay, trans, that seemed dismissive of Imane to me. Like the way they were just like um the way they were just oversimplifying everything just almost like took the humanity away from Imane a little bit. It was weird. I don't know if I'm the only one that saw it that way, but there was a lot of people that were against Imane, saying that's not cool to participate as a woman because of trans, and then now they're apologizing after the fact. Chale Sonnen just came out with the video kissing the ring and said, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My subscribers, please come back. Please come back. I didn't know. She's a woman and she's beautiful. And I'm not just saying that because I'm upset with Chale, because he stonewalled me in regard to being a showrunner for my movie project after he's the one that approached my channel and was saying all these cool things about me and was giving me compliments and this and that. And then when I go to him, he's like, Chale. And that's why I'm like, that's why you're Chale, fool. It's going to be like that. That's not what this video is about, though. It's not personal. I'm just saying a lot of people were making trans statements and now they're having to backtrack. I never said trans. I said it's a man's issue. I said XY, XY, XY. I said follow the biology. It's not something that I came up with. I'm just the messenger. I didn't create biology. But a long, long time ago, there was professors and teachers and doctors and scientists and that kind of stuff. And they came up with this stuff that I didn't come up with. And they said XX is for a lady, right? And they said XY is for a dude. All right. This is the female starter pack right here. This is the male starter pack right here. XX is female, XY is male. And then there was a while where they were trying to push something called, these are the chromosomes, by the way. XX chromosomes, XY chromosomes. And there was a while they were trying to push something called the homosomes. But after the Human Genome Project, they found out that was a big fat no, and that's not actually a thing. Well, that's a whole other video. But I just want to let you know that these have always been the thing since the beginning of trying to integrate the alphabet into gender. This has been it. This has been the baseline. XX female, XY for male. So it was very easy to say. And then sometimes they could cross over. Sometimes you could get like you could get XYYY, like a real inquisitive type of dude. Like maybe he has like feminine features because he's always asking questions and whatnot. Or like maybe you get like a lady with some extra X's and like she starts an OnlyFans or something like that when she comes of age. Like there's crossover. But in this situation, I was like, and by the way, while I got the pen and the pad out, what I thought was very interesting, because there's a lot of people that are talking about, let me go backwards a little bit. I was saying that it's not a trans issue. I was saying that it's a man's issue because of the XY. And there's a lot of people that were getting upset and they were saying, well, here's what you don't understand. Imane was raised as a girl. And then we're supposed to go, oh, I apologize. So she's not trans in that when she was about 12 or whatever, she's like, you know what? I want to live, it gets confusing. Imane wasn't a dude that at the age of 12 was like, hey, I want to become a chick now. Let's change me up. People are saying it was from birth. The parents raised Imane from birth to be a girl. There's photos, there's videos, there's a lot of proof. Well, one of the first things that I think is very interesting, if you're going to have a child that has XY chromosomes but wants to live as a lady, that you're going to give them the name that you gave them. And I looked at this name, and it wasn't like Da Vinci Code type of stuff right here. It was pretty simple. It was like first grade word search kind of stuff right here. It started to become clear to me. This was like on the level of like the Zodiac killer right here. This was right in front of our faces right here. They wanted this to be seen. They're laughing at us right now. This is as clear as day. Now, if you have a human being with XY chromosomes and you're trying to raise it as a female, why are you going to put he-man in there? Man, he. Why are you trying to play with us like that? If I had an XY human being and I was trying to raise it undercover as a female, I would name it something like Cinderella Pink Flowers. Middle name Raspberry Iced Tea. I would name him Cinderella Raspberry Iced Tea Pink Flowers. That would be the name. I wouldn't name it something with a man and a he in there, just laughing at everybody that's trying to have conversation about it. It's as clear as day. It's no secret. They're playing with you. And it's the same, and I wasn't going to even talk about this. It's the same thing as the opening ceremony at the Olympics, and now the closing ceremony. At first, everybody thought we were crazy, but now they're going to close it up like that too. Look, you've heard and heard and heard about the opening ceremonies, and you've heard the Olympic panel protest too much. You've heard them protest too much. Now, when it's like in a relationship, when it's like in a situation where someone's going on and running their mouth, and look, you see what happened was, you see, the thing is, look, honestly, like, to be honest with you, like, for reals, like, you know when someone's doing that, they're lying, right? The Olympics have been doing that non-stop ever since the opening ceremony. Well, you see, the thing is, and if you look at this and then back in this, and then you go here, and then you got to flip through the pages of history, and if you study that, and then if you understood this, and then if the dude that I don't even know in the opening ceremonies, were they all dudes or were some of them ladies? Okay, forget it. That's gonna get complicated. Were they all XYs or were some of them XXs? I don't even know. I didn't want to look too closely. But the one that was in the middle, that one that was in the middle, that had like the crown on, that was in the place of Christ, put on his Twitter, I don't know what it was, whatever the thing was, that had the crown on, that was in the middle, that was in the position of Christ. They put on their Twitter something about the gay New Testament. So you could say whatever you want about Dionysus and this and that, Greek mythology, blah, 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 blah. The dude in the middle was saying gay testament, mocking everything, knowing exactly what was going on. And all that word vomit about trying to justify should have been very plain to you. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're trying to do damage control now. And then they wrap it up with the angel of light, with Lucifer coming down, being cast out of the heavens and then be raised back up by humanity as the prince of the power of the air. It couldn't be more obvious. And I know it was the Voyager, it was a record, and it was this and that, just like it was Dionysus. I know. But it's obvious that there was a stage being set. It provides all the context and nuance that you could ever ask for. It's very important to the stuff that happened in between the Olympics. So, look. In my humble opinion, is it a trans? Now, maybe some people who think, you know, in the framework of sides will and who think I'm on their side will get upset with me for saying this. Do I think Imane is trans? No, I don't. So look, here's what you got to understand when you hear the issue when they say, Imane, has XY chromosomes, but was raised as a girl. There's pictures, there's photos, there's videos, there's tutus, there's bows. Who cares about that? I think one of the best modern examples we have of that is Gypsy Rose. How was Gypsy Rose raised? Gypsy Rose's mom raised her to think that she had cancer. She had diabetes. She was deaf, dumb, and blind. She couldn't do math. She had a lisp. She had really severe dandruff. She had webbed toes. She was left-handed. That's all the stuff that her mom forced her to believe about herself. None of it was. Her feet are a little bit funky. She might have webbed toes. I'm not sure. But all the other stuff, not even true. She actually has a pretty good immune system. Hardly ever even gets a cold. Her mom raised her to believe all that stuff about herself. Raised the whole world to believe it. All these doctors and all the social media, blah, blah. She fooled everybody. So how's that any different? Somebody could raise somebody the wrong way and fool everyone around them. So how about that? Are you going to go tell Gypsy Rose, nah, fool, you're deaf, dumb, and blind, and stop doing algebra? You don't know math, Gypsy? No, you're not going to do that, are you? It doesn't matter how you decide to raise something. What if I take this Sharpie and I'm like, you know what? You're a tiger now. You're ferocious. It's a Sharpie. That's not going to change the characteristics. It's not going to change the makeup and the matter of this Sharpie. What if I take this notepad and I'm like, you know what? You're a refrigerator now. I'm going to put some cheese in you. It's going to go bad. You can't just take whatever you want and decide you're going to raise it like that. And that's what it is. That's not how it works. So yes, Imane had the XY chromosomes and they said they're going to raise her like a girl. That doesn't mean that she's a female. By the, I hesitate to use the word traditional because I know a lot of people put a certain connotation to that and they think it's an ugly word now. Traditional is a hateful word now. So you can't take someone that's XY and say, you know what, you are 100% girl now because I bought you some dresses and raised you as a girl. You can't do that, because if you're going to follow that out to its logical conclusion, you're going to see how stupid that is, because this indeed is not a refrigerator. There's no way around that. I know you're getting emotional right now, but you can't. You have to put your emotions aside and be logical. This type of thing requires zero emotion. It's 100% logical. What's going to happen if you put your cheese in this? Now, if you put some nice, like mozzarella in it, it's going to get nice and soft, like the way I like to eat it sometimes, within maybe 30 minutes or so. But leave it in there for 9 days. What if you try to turn this into a cheetah? What? I feel stupid even saying this stuff. I don't even want to think out these illustrations because they're so dumb. But you're going to do it with a human being. Now, that'll allow a lot of people to feel like they could say, well, yeah, stupid, that's trans. Because it's XY and they're saying it's a girl. How do you not see that's a trans thing? Well, I'm not done yet. I did a lot of research on this topic, again, because I care about the truth. I wasn't just spewing out hatred and nonsense and bigotry. No, I did a lot of research on this. I did so much research on this that I had to thoroughly clear my search history before I let my children touch my computer again. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. But based on everything that I understand, on all the information out there, and I don't even know if how this word is taken anymore. I don't know if this word is offensive, or I don't know. But this is the word that I've always known. This is the word that has the clear, distinctive meaning. So I'm saying this word only to emphasize the situation, not to try to shock or upset anybody. Based on my research and all of my understanding, Imane is, and this is an update from my last video, or at least making it real clear. I don't think I made this clear enough in my last video because I kept saying man, and I have to correct myself. Because again, I'm not interested in being right. I'm not. I'm interested in truth. What's the truth? What are the facts? And whatever that is, I'll do my best to move in that direction. I don't care about being right. It's just whatever is right, I want to align with that. That's why I think a lot of people's mentalities gets messed up. I'm right and we're right and our side is right and you nah. I'm just like, hold on, let me look into this. Let me find out what's right, and I want to do my best to go in that direction. I think that's the attitude that we should have. Based on everything that I have been able to access, it seems like Imane is not a female, for sure, not trans, not gay, and not even just a man. It looks like Imane is what has historically and traditionally been referred to as a hermaphrodite. And it, just to be fully inclusive, a hermaphrodite, a hemaphrodite, whatever way, I don't know if, because from everything that I was able to find, it seems like Imane has the XY chromosome, but also female reproductive equipment. Now, I want to be very, very clear about something. Personally, I don't think there's anything funny about that. I think that's got to be one of the most awful, frustrating, confusing, horrible things that anybody would ever have to deal with. It seems so unfair and complicated. Now, I know there's still a lot of people that are trying to fight the XY thing and saying there's no proof, that we can't see it. I think all the proof is there that you need by deduction. The fact that Imane was kept out of certain things and didn't even try to appeal it or dispute it, like, and certain things won't be known. If you're trying to tell me something about myself medically and you're wrong, I'm gonna be like, oh, take out all those records, put them on Google. I want my name vindicated, blast it on there. Imane didn't do that. Imane didn't want to appeal nothing, didn't want to fight back anything, didn't want to cause a ruckus, didn't want to, just was like, all right. And then had to have the Olympic Committee of all. I mean, look at their opening and closing ceremonies. Look at what they stood for. Look at what they're trying to push out there. Obviously, the Olympic Committee is going to grab that and be like, we'll help you out. And then everyone's like, look at who said this. It was this Russian oligarch. It was this crazy guy and he has criminal ties. And if anyone's going to tell the truth about this, it's going to be that guy. It's not going to be the Peacock, the NBC, the Olympic Committee. It's not going to be them. You can trust the celebrities. You can trust Hollywood. Look at look at Drake right now. These are the kind of people that you're talking about. Leave it in Drake's hands. Talking about the six. That whole time when he's talking about the six, he's talking about his favorite age range. People don't understand how ugly and wicked all the intricacies of Hollywood. It's all manifesting right now. They're rubbing it in your faces. It's blatant. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. And they're trying to explain it away. It's like, make up your mind. Are you ready to do this? Are you ready to wrap this all up or not? Are you ready to be out there and bold in these days of Noah? Are you ready to be out there and blatantly put all your wickedness on display or not? If you're going to do it, do it. Don't take it off YouTube. Don't backtrack and make all these apologies on Twitter. Commit to it. And what I thought was really weird, they're going to be doing all this, the gods and the goddesses and all this mythology. I think one of the most disrespectful things to Imane is they didn't even, and yes, it's mythological and I don't believe in that, but still, like, the mythological goddess, it's weird to me that in the light of everything with Imane and the hermaphrodite situation, they didn't even highlight the goddess, the Hermaphrodite in the whole thing. That would have been like the perfect, like, even though it's kind of a weird situation, that would have been the perfect way to tie it all together. That would have been poetic right there. They really missed out on that one. But look, this is my update right here. Based on everything that is out there, all the literature, all the articles, all the videos, and I'm talking art, and you're probably thinking, oh, you're reading the wrong articles. 99% of the articles are liberal articles. Liberals are always the most vocal. Always. So if you think I'm reading the wrong stuff, believe me, you could tell by the way they word and write stuff and their cadence. It's just like, it's exhausting. I was reading mostly far heavily liberal things. So I'm getting my information from everywhere, not just from the side that you believe that you're supposed to hate. And based on everything I was able to find, it looks like Imane was born with XY chromosomes, but female reproductive instruments. Which I think puts Imane in a different category. Personally, I don't think it's fair to put Imane to compete with men, even though there's an XY chromosomes, because there's obviously different stuff going on there that could offset that. Now, I don't know how female reproductive organs go hand in hand with estrogen. I don't know if that heavily offsets the testosterone and the XY, and therefore that's why it's not fair to fight with men. But I don't think Imane should fight with men. Do I think Imane should fight with the women? No. If there's an XY present whatsoever, no. Because that's an unfair advantage. And forever it was women, I believe in women, empower women, women's rights, women. And then boom, just like that, you get the right agenda. Well, sorry, women, you were a means to an end. You had your run. You had your pink beanies and whatnot. You were a means to an end. This is bigger than you. We got a spot for you if you become a man. We got room for you. But again, I sympathize. I really do sympathize with the hermaphrodites, with the hermaphrodites. I sympathize. And long time ago, sports were for men, right? That's how it started. They were the ruffians and doing all this stuff, and the women were gathering grapes or whatever. The men were doing the sports. And then at some point, women were like, we'd like to do sports too. So then they made their own sports, right? You don't see females, playing in the MLB or NBA or stuff like that. They got their own stuff, right? I mean, maybe I'm thinking a little progressively here. I don't know. The first time I've ever thought progressively, I guess. If they had the men's and then the women wanted to do it and they're like, well, then we'll do our own leagues. Why don't they do the same thing for the hermaphrodites? Again, I feel for them. They didn't ask for this. This is, they were born in a ridiculously difficult, confusing situation. Let them play their sports, man. Make their own leagues. Let them have their own entries. Think about it this way. Think about, like, I don't know, maybe gymnastics is the best way to look at this. Take like the best male gymnastic and his like floor routine. Do dudes do floor routines? Oh my gosh. Let's say that dudes do floor routines. And there was the one who was like the best at it, right? All smooth and graceful and whatnot. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Let's let a woman wants to compete against him. Let's let the woman compete against him. And they'll be like, what the heck? She's gonna be way more flexible and graceful and fluid and all that. There's no hope. That's why they gotta have their own categories. Why do they get theirs and they get theirs? Why are we gonna constantly leave out the hermaphrodite? That's not fair. I really, 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 really believe that. I think this being on the world stage now as it was, it can't get more popular than that. What better time to pave the way for their own. I mean, just like, I'm not trying to compare this, but just like you have the Special Olympics, that's a great thing. That's a beautiful thing for people to be able to have and to do. Why in the world would you keep this other group that it doesn't quite make sense for them to fairly compete against this side or this side? Why would you keep it away from them to have their own thing like that? So I'm over here, I mean, you turn on this video thinking you're gonna get a certain kind of thing from me, and I'm over here championing the hermaphrodites, saying let's go. I'm over here holding up these flags. I gotta make a hermaphrodite. Is there a hermaphrodite flag? Imagine if I was like the one that spearheaded like Hermaphrodite Month. Every time you go to Old Navy, they're like, would you like to give $5 for the hermaphrodite? Hey, this is it. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. I'm excited about this. I'm not even playing. I'm excited about this because they haven't been heard. It was approached with nothing but hatred because it was misunderstood. But here's one of the biggest problems. Imane needs to be honest with itself. I don't think Imane has fully embraced its situation and its makeup. And I think, look, I'm over here saying in a big, significant way, Imane is a victim in this whole thing because of poor organization, poor structure, because of everyone being behind the game and not knowing how to accommodate this situation. I think in a big way, Imane is a victim and received a lot of hate, all because of the incorrect framing of this situation. But Imane is also at fault, because if Imane was just like, woo, and just was like, look, this is what I'm working with, then people would be like, oh, snap. Where do we go from here? And then you come to my video where I lay it out for you. I think if Imane would just be honest about what's really going on, then people would be more receptive and be like, this is not what we thought it was. We thought it was going to be like that Funky Cole Medina song. And it's not, at least not according to what I've read. I did have a theory. I did have a theory that a lot of people before the hermaphrodite situation, I did have a theory that a lot of people, it was like, how are they blatantly turning their back on science? Forever, people have been science, pro-science, anti-creation, anti-God. It's all about science. And then the past, I don't know, however many years, when it came to gender and sexuality, it's like, forget science. I just want to do whatever titillates me and gives me gratification. Forget about science and biology. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you guys were the ones that went so hard on science and biology. What happened? I had a theory, and I didn't really spend a lot of time with this, but I think it has something to do with Scientology. I think when Scientology became a religion, And I think it's been a religion for a while. But I think when it finally became like mainstream and a lot of people started hearing about it, then people who used to go real hard on science all the time got spooked because they're like, wait a minute. Science is a religion now? I'm like super anti-religious. I don't want to be religious. But you're making science into religion, then I can't be into science anymore. I gotta debunk science. So I think a lot of people that were on the science train, and look, I'm not saying I'm anti-science. I'm saying, I mean, I like real science, like observable science. I think a lot of time people, I don't want to get into that whole thing. There's like observable science. There's observable science. There's observable science. And a lot of times people try to use what's observable. Like people are like, look, we have the science to make things like cell phones. You don't think we know about the millions and trillions and gazillions of years that the earth is? So they try to turn observable science into historical science. And they try to backtrack and be like, well, if we know how to do this, then we knew how to do that. And we were there. It's like if we basically saw everything from day, that's a whole different thing. But observable science, actual science, like I'm in a lab and I'm actually testing this and it's repeatable, like that kind of science, yes. But there's a lot of people who look at science as if it was anti-faith, anti-God, anti-religion. They're like, yeah, it's got all the right antibodies for my liking. So then they gravitate toward it, but then they heard it's a religion and they're like, I'm out. I ain't going to church. I ain't down with science anymore. And I think it's because of Scientology. I think Scientology is to blame for all of the relativism that has flooded the culture today. This can all be tracked back to Tom Cruise, who was in the Olympics. Oh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm just like hearing it reverberate in my beanie right now. Like, you can't write this stuff. You can't write this stuff. And I didn't write this. I put down a few notes right here, but I didn't write this. Oh my gosh. It all comes back to Tom Cruise. Oh my gosh. Just remember, like almost all of this hinges on the XY, right? And the only thing that a lot of people that are getting mad or complaining about is they're not actually like seeing it right in front of their faces on paper, the XY. Which shouldn't even be. I mean, when do you ever see that? I mean, are you going to think I don't have XY unless I show you on paper? I mean, I could look at Imane and tell you she could have XY tattooed on her face like if she was Post Malone. Like I could see the XY the moment I glance. There's a reason why we have words like androgynous. There's a reason. The word androgynous wouldn't exist. It wouldn't exist if you weren't able to look at a dude and know it was a dude, or a chick and know it was a chick. It wouldn't exist. Because of that, they had to make a word like androgynous to explain that there are situations in which sometimes it's difficult to tell. Well, why would you have to make a word for that? Because most of the time it's not difficult to tell. Oh, so it's not just like certain people being hateful. You can't look at people and be like, hey, no, it's been a thing forever. I don't know when the word androgynous was made. Maybe it has something to do with Dionysus and the Golden Voyager and all this explanation that I'm going to read on MSNBC later. I don't know. But words like that wouldn't exist if there wasn't something to that. But the only thing that people have with the XY is the guy. He's a bad guy. And he must be lying, right? It's just he said that she said he's a she's that he said that she's a he said that he said she said. It's a lot of he said that she's a he said that she. But it's not. It's not. You could look at it that way, and then it looks like you don't really have anything to grab onto. But that's the issue. That's the issue. A lot of people think with Imane, there's something to grab onto. And it's not. There's an XY. But there's nothing to grab onto. Because, at least according to what I read, all the different apparatus are lady parts. And it's the XY within. It's the XY within and the lady parts without. She's no, I was gonna say it's like that one song. I'm every woman, it's all in me. But that doesn't quite because we also need a man. I am whatever you say I am. No, that doesn't really make sense either. If I wasn't, then why would I say I? So look, I know this wasn't the typical kind of video, but I didn't really care about that. It doesn't matter because even when I do make that kind of video, it doesn't even make a difference. What do I care? All I wanted to say in this video is, Imane, according to everything that's out there, because I spent a lot of time researching, doesn't look like Imane is a man in the traditional scientific sense, even though there's an XY. Doesn't look like Imane is a woman. Doesn't look like Imane is trans or gay. It looks like Imane is a hermaphrodite or whatever way. I don't know what came first, the XY or the whatever came. It's like it's the chicken and the egg, but you know the chicken came first unless you believe in the science that you no longer believe in because of Scientology, even though that wasn't observable science, that was historical science, and it was really nothing that you could have ever believed in anyway. And that's why it was so easy for you to ditch once Scientology came into play, because you never really believed in it to begin with. It's kind of like that whole they never really were of us to begin with. Like it's the same thing on the other side. It looks like Imane has mixed up stuff that was not their choice. It's not like they went to the doctor and got the lady parts. It looks like Imane was born with XY and with lady parts, at least according to what's out there. That's all I can go off of. I ain't hiding in the closet. Observing myself. I don't got that observable kind of science going on right here. But according to everything that's out there, there's the XY and there's the lady parts. I think they should make different categories so people like Imane could thrive without the hatred and without being unfair to the men or the women. And I think that Chale Sunny is a dirtbag and is disingenuous and somewhat hypocritical and flaky. What else? I think the Olympic Committee set Imane up for failure to be hated because of the way that they framed the whole thing. And I believe that Imane should be honest with itself and just tell everyone, look, because Imane, to be honest, is kind of unlikable, to be very honest, because there's kind of a vagueness. There's kind of a dark cloud over the whole thing, and it seems like there's a dishonesty there. Just tell it. Just bust out you don't have to go full OnlyFans, but just let people know, like, hey, this is what I'm working with. So, and then you'll quiet a lot of haters that way. Let them know exactly what you're working with, and then you're going to force them in the next Olympics. In the next Olympics, there's going to be a lot of different things. There's going to be no breakdancing, even though I think that's stupid, because I think that kangaroo lady was like the best thing that's ever happened to the Olympics. It's like why people watch American Idol, because the funny auditions, that was like the best thing that's ever happened to the Olympics. But there's not going to be the breakdancing, supposedly. they might have a new category for you if you're actually bold enough. Come on, just be a, I don't know how to say it, be a man. Be a woman. Like, be a whatever you gotta be to be what you wanna, whatever you wanna be. It sounded a lot more inspirational in my beanie. I'm losing confidence now. Just be the amalgamation. Just be like, I am not man, I am not woman, I am the best of both. Like, be the, like Miley Cyrus. You got the best of both worlds. Do something different. There's gonna be no breakdancing. There's gonna be the hermaphrodite categories. I heard in the opening ceremonies they're gonna do some what's it called? They're gonna have cannibalism. They're gonna have live cannibalism next time for the opening ceremony. So that's something I look forward to. They were talking about doing baby sacrifices to Molech as well. But then someone was like, that's not even a big thing because they do that every day all over the world. So